Good afternoon to those on the East Coast. Good morning to those in the center part of the country, as well as the West Coast. It's really an honor to be with you and to share at this point. I apologize. I just have a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm sorry. We want to thank every one of you, the participants. At this point, we've transferred over $45 million to the Army. 100% of everything that's given has been transferred, as well as we've made commitments for over $50 million. And that will be transferred in the coming weeks. We want to thank each and every one of you. Today, we have two very special guests. Faye Goldstein. Faye is a fascinating person. She's a CEO of a high-tech company in Tel Aviv. Her family was originally from New York, where she was born. She was raised in Miami and made Aliyah from Miami. And she is right now in reserves. She's in what's called Dovrei Tzahal, the Israel spokesperson's office. She's incredibly articulate, and it's a real blessing that we have Faye with us. And of course, we have Major General Nadav Padan from the field. Major General Nadav Padan as well is going to be giving us an update upon what's happening in Gaza. At this point, we'll hand it over to Faye Goldstein. Faye, thank you.
Thank you for having me here. And thank you, everybody, for being on this call and joining for these updates. It's incredibly important just to kind of keep up to date with what's going on in Israel. And I know that so many of you have your hearts here with us. So I want to thank you for that. Just to give you a little bit of an overview, we're now standing in day 40 since the October 7th massacre. And personally, for me, I've forgotten almost what day of the month it is. And instead, my days are being counted in increments of since the October 7th massacre. So we are now on day 40. And I want to walk you through a little bit and give you a briefing on a few different fronts. Starting first on the home front here in Israel. What do we have happening right now? So as unfortunately it currently stands, there are still 239 Israelis, including children and women, being held hostage in Gaza. And that is one of the absolute top priorities of the IDF, along with dismantling Hamas's infrastructure, is to bring these hostages home. There have been 1,200 Israelis killed since the October 7th massacre, and 368 IDF fatalities. 46 of those have been IDF killed in action since the ground operation in Gaza. There have been 10,000 plus rockets fired at Israelis just a few days ago in Tel Aviv, including and throughout the entire country. 1,000 or more of those rockets have been misfired, and many of you most likely remember the situation of that misfired Islamic Jihad rocket. That is not an isolated incident. There are rockets continuously and constantly being misfired from Gaza towards Israel, but 10,000 have been fired at us, and the Iron Dome has been working for that. So I also want to thank the folks here for that as well. Now, today, there have been launches from Lebanon as well, and the northern border is heating up. Now, again, we are not interested in a multi-front war. We are focused on ensuring that and asking Hezbollah if it's worth it for them and for Lebanon to get involved in a situation on behalf of a terrorist organization down south, on behalf of Hamas. That being said, we are making a very conscious effort to ensure that the communities in northern Israel are secure, and we are taking defensive action to ensure that when Hezbollah is striking, we are striking back, and offensive action of ensuring that they cannot launch preemptively when we are seeing that there is some movements there. So again, just today, there were launches identified from Lebanon. Yesterday, there were anti-tank missiles fired from Lebanon, plus mortars. And we are ensuring there are troops up north, and we are ensuring that not only our southern border, but also the northern border remains secure. And speaking of both the north and the south, there have been over 250,000 Israelis that have been displaced from their homes on the northern, from Kiryat Shmona, and 14 communities up north, plus many of the southern communities have also been displaced and are currently throughout the country living in hotels and places so that they are not there within at the front of the war. That's where a little bit of the focus on it in Israel. Now, when it comes to our focus in Gaza, the IDF has hit over 15,000 targets in Gaza. They have identified and struck 300 tunnel shafts and have found over hundreds of booby-trapped buildings and structures. As Hamas militants have taken over, and as we have explained and had warned that we would be doing ground operations within the space, they knew that, and they have booby-trapped many of the places, and we are finding those things as well. We have found 3,000 terrorist sites and hundreds of structures that were rigged with explosives, and hundreds of Hamas command centers. A lot of those command and control centers are in, near, and around civilian structures, as many of you guys know, and particularly hospitals, which has been a focus of the conversation over the last few days. We had initially with our Antisi hospital, where there was assault rifles, suicide vests, IEDs, and as well as a tunnel that was found that led directly from a Hamas commander's home underground directly into this hospital. That was a video that was published where you might have seen baby bottles and diapers, evidence and indications that there were hostages potentially held there, and things that were in the underground space of that hospital that do not belong in a hospital. That's the Rantisi hospital. Right now, we are acting when it comes to the hospital in the Shifa hospital. And there's a lot of conversations and a lot of questions around that hospital. A lot of that information, unfortunately, I cannot go into yet. I am sure that the FIDF will be one of the first to know as soon as we are ready to release some more information about that. But what I can say is recently today, we have provided humanitarian efforts towards that hospital. We've had incubators go in and humanitarian aid for the medical needs of that hospital. And we are continuously, as we have over the last few weeks, continuously encouraging and asking the civilians within the northern part of Gaza to move southward. We are opening 2 humanitarian corridors. We are encouraging and we are keeping also safer zones for them to move farther south, and also offering tactical pauses in order to encourage evacuation and to encourage these civilians to get into safer areas there. Now, when it comes to what we're doing for the civilians in Gaza, in contrast to Hamas, the IDF is focused on preventing as much civilian harm and as possible. Hamas intentionally has buried itself, right? It's no question why we're not casually finding that it happens to be a Hamas commander's house next to a hospital. It's not just a casual happenstance that there are tunnels dug around there. This was over the years, an intentional effort by Hamas to embed themselves and to build their war machines within civilian areas. And we are focused on destroying that capabilities, while at the same time offering aid to Gaza. So as of yesterday, 1,353 trucks of aid were brought into Gaza, 108 of them yesterday, 2 million liters of water, and an additional aid, including shelter and medical supplies as necessary. So that's a little bit of an overview of where we're holding. I hope I covered a little bit of all those bases where we have what's happening on the home front, a little bit up north, and where we're holding with the hospitals. But I'd be happy to open it up to you, Steve, again for questions. I know you had a few of those.
Thank you very much, Faye, for addressing us. And you mentioned you have to be very circumspect with the details in terms of the Shifa hospital, so we're not going to push you there. 2 questions. You elaborated upon the fact that they keep pushing the edge in the north. The Hezbollah is using, whether it's mortars, whether it's anti-tank missiles. That's a very, very frail situation. Do you want to elaborate in terms of where the perception is? Do you see that breaking into a full-fledged war, or that's not something that you can elaborate upon?
Well, Hezbollah is on the brink of dragging Lebanon into a situation that the people of Lebanon don't deserve. And the question is right now, is that something that Hezbollah is willing and wanting to do? We will not tolerate, and absolutely will not tolerate, a reality where the residents of northern Israel do not feel safe and secure to live in their homes. And that is where we're holding right now. That is not a reality we will tolerate, and is not a reality that we are willing or ready to have in that northern area. So we will do what's necessary to maintain the safety, security, and quiet, or to bring back safety, security, and quiet of Israel's northern border. But then again, at the same time, we are not interested in multi-front war. Our war right now is with Hamas. Our war right now is with the terrorist organization controlling Gaza, not with the people of Gaza, not with the North, and we are looking to maintain that. But we are ready, willing, and capable to keep Israelis safe wherever they are.
And then the second question that we have, we understand that probably 95% of all residents of Gaza right now are south of the Gaza River. And although there are still some civilians in northern Gaza, it's relatively few, contrary to what Hamas is putting out there. We also know, as you've explained, that the closing off of the tunnels. Whatever methods are being used, that obviously is something that's not for a public broadcast. But each and every hour they're closing up tunnels, and there's a lot of work being done in northern Gaza. However, there are a number of rockets that keep coming every day. Yes, it's fewer and fewer as the duration of the war has gone on. Can you speak about the challenge of dealing with the enemy, dealing with Hamas, which is operating out of southern Gaza, places like Khan Yunis, Rafiah, many other places, in the midst of a very concentrated, dense population center? Can you speak about the operations there?
I can't speak too much about the operations, but I can speak about what you had just mentioned about the complexity and the intentionality of Hamas to continuously, again, fire from civilian areas, fire from areas that that we are asking the civilians to move south. We are making an effort as much as possible within the boundaries of international law to ensure the safety and security of Gazan civilians as much as possible. And Hamas knows that. Hamas knows our ethics and our morals and what we aim to do, and the fact that we are trying to ensure the safety of the Gazan civilians, plus, again, bring our hostages home. I can't go into too much detail to say, but we have been able to, because of these strikes, we have been able to limit Hamas's capabilities. And we will combat and we will destroy Hamas and we will dismantle the organization wherever it is, based on intelligence and tactical focused missions, wherever they are in the Gaza Strip.
Thank you. We really, first of all, we appreciate it. We appreciate what you're doing for Israel, what you're doing for the world right now. We wish you success. We know it's not easy being the CEO of a company and not being there, but you're doing great work for Israel, for the IDF. And it's an honor for us, the friends of the IDF, not only to have you as the face and the representative of Israel, but the face and the representative of the IDF.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
At this time, we're turning to Major General Nadav Padan, who is in the field, and it's a great honor. You know, we haven't had a chance to talk with Major General Padan since Sunday, but he's going to be giving us an update and an insight to many of the issues that are happening. Please, Major General Padan.
Not much to say. We are in the same situation. We have multi-arena kind of challenge right now. But nothing changed dramatically in the arena of the Gaza Strip. So we continue to have daily I would say local war along the Israel and Hezbollah. But as far as I understand it, Hezbollah tried to be under the threshold of war. So it doesn't want to take us to war, but it want to bother us and take part of our attention from the south to the north. If it wasn't in the context of war in Gaza, those kind of events at the north will be a war declaration between Israel and Hezbollah. But we're in different situation. Israel tried to focus in our operation at the south part of the country, and we'll have to deal with Hezbollah later on. At the other arena, the Golan Heights and with the Houthi in Yemen was still challenging. Today, I don't know if you read the news, but U.S. battleship tackled a drone that tried to be launched from Yemen, from the Houthis in Yemen toward the south part of Israel. So, well, we have challenge all over. When it comes to the south, Gaza Strip, the update is that more or less Israel control the city of Gaza and the town surrounding Gaza. If we spoke about the fact that the IDF was already surrounding Gaza and controlling the town surrounding Gaza, so the situation today is that Israel, the IDF took most of the neighborhood, but actually two of them, the Gaza City and the town surrounding it, including the main 4 hospitals, which we visit all of them. You saw the movie that's been published by the IDF spokesperson from Rantisi Hospital. You're probably going to see same kind of videos from Shiba's hospital. I guess that the IDF will get back and forth. We have freedom of operation right now in this area, so we can decide when and where to be able to visit. We control 100% the surface of Gaza Strip. We are not controlling 100% the subterranean system of Gaza, what we call the Gaza Metro, not in Gaza City, and definitely not in Gaza Strip, at the town at the south to the Gaza River, Deir el-Balah, Khan Yunis, Rafiah. Those towns have been attacked only by strikes from the air so far, and Israel and the IDF moving step by step up to the plans, and we'll have to deal with all those areas later on in this war. When it comes to the diplomatic windows, I must say that we understand that we cannot, keep this kind of modus operandi for 2 or 3 months, but we can keep the operation for as much as it's needed without launching over 500 strike every day and launching hundreds of mortar and artillery shells toward Gaza. Once we'll have a freedom to move in Gaza, we can move without using those kind of forces or this kind of force from neighborhood to neighborhood and clean the neighborhood and the subterranean cachet under it. So that's going to be the journey of the idea for the next few weeks. And I guess that during this operation, during the specific job of cleaning the city of Gaza from terrorists, we'll have to deal parallel to that with Hezbollah at the northern border and the other Shia militias that surrounding us. I must say that there was a lot. I've told you several times before, but I think that I have to add it again. There were a lot of skepticism and question marks about the ability of the IDF to maneuver freely inside Gaza. There were people that described kind of nightmares movies about how it's going to look like and what kind of swarm or minefield it's going to be inside Gaza. So far, the IDF show very professional maneuver that combine between combat engineering, armor and infantry on the ground, and air and naval support all over the operation. It's really from professional perspective, it's really a thing to be admired. And I've hosted today, and I'm going to host tomorrow again, officers from all over the world inside our headquarters. And they're all professional. They all see the map. They all see what we're doing. And a lot of them went to talk to me in 4 eyes after the brief and tell me how amazing the maneuver looked like. And some of them have a lot of experience from other maneuver around the Middle East and other places. So it's really, after the failure of October 7, it's really rebuild the spirit of the IDF and the trust of the IDF from the perspective of the people of Israel. So it's significantly important only from that perspective. To speak a bit
Major
about,
Pagan,
sorry?
could we ask you a question? The fact that Gaza City is booby trapped, and that the entrance to many of these tunnels are booby trapped. And there was a tragedy this past Shabbat where we lost 4 reservists. But it's almost miraculous that the fact that you've got a whole city booby trapped, and yet the IDF has been able to stop this, to shut these things down. And relatively speaking, we've lost a very small number of soldiers. Can you elaborate upon this? I know much of this is probably not something for a public briefing, but can you share your thoughts?
So I cannot speak about the tactic and the way the IDF deal with it, but the IDF deal with it every hour, every day, in every neighborhood in Gaza Strip. And so far, as you can see the result, although we have lost, and every person that we lost is the whole world, compared to the challenge, it's amazing. The achievement of intelligence, the achievement of the tactic, it's amazing. Our chair, the chair of the FIDF, visited the headquarters that I'm serving in, and we show him a video of how a neighborhood, the whole streets look like when you attack one place that the intelligence speaks about 2 terrorists hiding in, and the whole neighborhood collapsed. It was a chain of booby traps and ID explosive devices, improvised explosive devices that were connect together in a chain for almost 1,000 feet. I mean, it was crazy to see what small attack in one window, in one room, initiated. The situation is really challenging. And by the way, part of the scenes that we see in Gaza City is not as a result of the Israel attack or the strike over the city, which were tremendous strong. I'm not trying to undermine it, but it's a cause of the IEDs and mines and the explosive devices that sprayed all over the city. The Hamas used civilian facilities like schools, children gardens, simple apartments, to build this booby trap. We find house in the Shati refugee camp that all the walls of it were IEDs that cached inside the walls of the building. It was crazy to see. Thank God we had the intelligence that we dealt with it without putting our soldier in risk. But you're right. Your question is the right question, because the city is full of booby traps, full of IEDs. I mean, tons of ammunition. It's amazing to see the amount and the scales of IEDs that they've been collected over the last several years.
The second question we have,
just to think what they could do with the money to support their own people.
The second question we have, Major General Padan, if we could go back, let's say in the calendar to October 8th, whatever the number of terrorists, be it Hamas or PIJ, that were north of the Gaza River, today, is it fair to say that a large number of them fled south of the Gaza River, and a large number of them are operating underground at this point, as opposed to have stayed and battled the IDF?
So, yeah, it's fair to say most of the terrorists that are north to Gaza River are hiding under the ground. Most of them. Lots of them been killed. Others ran away, left their weapon and everything and ran away to the south with the echelon people that withdraw from the north part of Gaza Strip to the south of the Strip. Yeah, it's fair to say that I would say it differently. We're counting around 50,000 active terrorists, people with weapons. There is few other thousands that supported Hamas. When you speak about this number and you look at those numbers from the perspective of the declaration of Israel that we're going to destroy Hamas, we didn't thought and we don't think that we're going to kill all the terrorists that lives in Gaza Strip. Although I won't spend one tear for any of them. But we want to destroy Hamas as terror organization. We understand that some of the terrorists will throw the weapons and go back to their regular day with the idea of Hamas hiding in their heads. We'll have to deal with them for a very long time. When we're saying that we have a long journey to do in Gaza, it's because of the subterranean system. It's because it takes time to clean all those leaks and area that they hide the ammunition, weapon, rocket, whatever. And because that we'll have to fight for a very long time the idea of Hamas and make it irrelevant or reduce the Hamas influence on the people of Gaza Strip, like we're doing for years in Judea and Samaria. There is Hamas cells and Hamas terrorists in Judea and Samaria, but their influence is very limited. It's limited because the IDF have freedom of operation, and every time that cells of Hamas pump up wherever in refugees camp or at the Kasbah, the oldest crowded center of the city, the IDF operate and destroy it before it's become a threat, before they launch their attempt to send terrorists to the center of Israel. So, I mean, and it took few years to achieve those freedom of operation in Judea and Samaria, and probably it's going to take few months to achieve the same kind of freedom in Gaza Strip. So I won't count terrorists. What we have to count to look for is to destroy the system, to break the system of Hamas. Once we break the system of Hamas, doesn't mean that we'll kill all the Hamas participator or all the member of Hamas, but we kill Hamas as an organization, and then bit by bit we'll dig it to the end of to the last terrorist that's still active. That's the idea, and that's going to take time.
Thank you. Any last thoughts you want to share with the participants?
Just to speak about one thing. I've been into Gaza Strip to visit a troop inside Gaza City today. And I met with 3 brigade commander, and I spoke with the soldier, and they asked me what I'm doing today. And I've told them that regardless of the fact that I'm still in reserve, my daily job is the national director of the FIDF. So the brigade commander pulled up gloves from his vest, and he showed me the glove with the symbol of the FIDF on them. And the soldier around me started singing thank you for the FIDF. Unfortunately, I couldn't take my phone out because it's not allowed inside Gaza. But you had to see the influence and the importance of the love. And if I may, I'll send the appreciation and the love that they asked me to send to you. It's really not taken for granted. At the eyes of the soldier, the support and the care significantly important. And they saw me as a general. Was another general that visited them. Once I said FIDF, it changed the whole environment. So we're really making a difference. We really are.
Thank you. Today alone, we've transferred over $2 million to the IDF for crucial needs that they've been asking for. And I'm sure tomorrow we'll have the opportunity to be transferring more. And again, to our participants, to all of you, we're profoundly grateful. As I said at the beginning, we're looking at over $45 million that have been transferred already. Every penny of that is used. The IDF uses that to procure from their suppliers, whether it's medical needs, whether it's plasma, whether it's clothing, whatever the issues are that they need, we provide that to them. And we've committed to tens of millions of dollars of more funding that we ask for help. We're very grateful to each and every one of you. Please feel free to reach out to your friends, your customers, your relatives. We need all the help we can get. This is, as the general said, this is a long war, and there's going to be needs on a daily basis. Wishing each and every of you a wonderful day, a wonderful week. God bless our soldiers, the soldiers of the IDF, and God bless the people of Israel. Thank you.